Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Julie and for today's video I am going to show you my body modifications. It makes me laugh because I don't really have many and it's only piercings. I don't have any tattoos whatsoever. Reason for that is that I just could never commit to anything. I would have an idea or something that I thought would look cool and then a month later I just backed out. Also, tattoos are expensive. I'm going to go through my 13 piercings, which isn't much. Obviously, you can blatantly see 4 of them right now. The first facial piercing I ever got was my nose on my right side. I got it pierced, I think right when I was about 18. So that was 10 years ago. I'm old. And I was super excited to get my nose pierced. My mom said, when you're 18, you can get your nose or your eyebrow. And I just wasn't into the eyebrow, it wasn't my thing. So I went with the nose. I got it pierced by someone who charged really a lot of money for it. They didn't do a great job because it got infected even though I was cleaning it and taking care of it. I think they pierced it with a hoop. And it was a really big hoop, which I'm not sure if you can do or not, but it just wasn't a good experience. I have had issues along the way with this nose piercing. It has gotten infected, it has gotten a little keloid on it before, but I've used the tea tree oil or warm water with sea salt, and that definitely helped to bring it down. About a year later, the next piercing I got was my Monroe. And I got it done pretty cheap, but they actually did a decent job and I've never had an issue with it. All I know is that my dentist hates it and every time I go, he's like, you really need to take that out. It's gonna wear at your gums. And I believe it may have a little bit, but I love it and I don't really care and I haven't had an issue with it. I did TMS last year and so I had to change out all my facial piercings to be titanium, and so the post was also a little shorter on my Monroe and it was better quality because I had an old Monroe piercing in there for a long time. Like the jewelry was really old and the backing was really worn and I should have been better about it and got it changed, but I guess I lacked motivation. Once I got this one in, I've had a better experience and I think it looks a lot better. I believe it was in 2014? Yeah, in 2014, I got my septum done. I got it done at another cheap place. They did it wrong. They pierced it with a 14 gauge and they didn't put it in the sweet spot. I remember getting it done and it hurt really bad. It hurt worse than any of my other facial piercings. And there was a mom and a daughter watching me get it pierced and I bled everywhere and they were so freaked out and so was I. It's not a good experience. I didn't really like the way it looked. It was just too big and it was hanging down too far. I got a piercer that I really liked and he re-pierced my septum with a 16 gauge, I believe, and it came out a lot better. And it was smaller, it was how I wanted it, and I really like having a black septum because I feel like a little scene kid. He did tell me at one point that it wasn't good for my nose, but I never really had any issues with it, and I switched to a new piercer who, hi Christina, you're lovely, and she actually put this one in for me because when I did TMS, I had to take my septum piercing out because obviously it wasn't titanium and titanium septum piercings aren't really a thing from what I know. But she put this one in and I was thrilled with that experience. It's very comfortable and I enjoy it because it kind of sets me apart. And also if I want a more professional look, I mean, our generation's gonna take over and we're all gonna have septums in the office and as clinicians and teachers, let's face it, because who cares? They're cute. I really enjoy this piercing. I like that even though it's small, I can easily flip it up and it's still pretty comfortable to flip it up, especially because my other piercings, my other nose piercings aren't really in the way, which is good. So that covers those 3 piercings. Then in 2015, I wanted another piercing. I talked to a friend at a piercing shop and said, what should I get? And he said, why don't you get the other side of your nose? That would look cool. At the time I had a hoop in my nose, it was clamped to my nose, so it fit really well. So I just got a stud on the other side, and it was smaller than this. It wasn't really like a diamond kind of style. It was just plain. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but I was suggested to get 2 studs to have it evened out, but I really liked my hoop, although I had to take it out for TMS, as I said. So I got titanium piercings all together and a more cohesive look, which I'm enjoying, although I'm debating eventually putting my nose ring back in. I'm happy with the layout of my facial piercings for now. Some people have suggested, oh, it would be cool if you had a piercing right here, the Medusa, or whatever it's called. But I don't want to have a hole here and a hole here and whatever. I'm very happy with this layout, and I feel like it's a good way to express myself, and I feel like a little emo kid with all my piercings. Next up, we will go over my ears. So obviously, if you've watched my videos before, you know I have plugs. They are at 1 inch. They've been at 1 inch for like 9 years now. So I stretched them a long time ago. I really didn't do a good job stretching, and that was probably the most painful experience because I went too fast and definitely hurt my ears over time. And even still, they get kind of dry and I need to take better care of them, but they don't really get infected or painful or give me any problems for the most part. If you'd like me to do a video on my ear stretching experience, I would totally do that for you. I don't know how many pictures I have or how good my memory is about my stretching journey. I didn't plan to have them this big because you can't really go back without surgery, and I don't plan to do that ever. I can't stand when people are like, what are you gonna do when you get married? And I'm like, I'm gonna have adorable plugs for my wedding and you can kiss my rump. I mean, this is how I express myself. I like the way all my piercings look, and I feel confident with them. Moving forward to my left ear, I also have a 2nd and 3rd ear piercing above, which I got those done, I think, as a teenager at Claire's with a piercing gun. Don't ever do that. Don't go to Claire's for a piercing gun. Always go to a tattoo or piercing shop where they use a needle and know what they're doing. Also, I have 2 cartilage piercings. I don't remember where I got one. The other one is a fun little story I'll try to tell quickly. My cousin and I were at Hampton Beach in New Hampshire on the boardwalk, and we saw that there was someone who was doing piercings. And again, it wasn't really in a piercing shop, and he pierced my cartilage piercing with a gun. And the funny part was he didn't take our IDs, and he was just like, oh, are you guys over 18? And I was. My cousin was like 16. She's like, yeah, and just went and got her ears pierced. So this piercing can be super annoying because if I sleep on my side, sometimes it's painful, or sometimes I can't, and I just have to deal with my other side. I do like the way they look. Then, it's hard to turn my head. On this side, I don't have anything in my cartilage. I don't have a lot of piercings. I just have my 2nd and 3rd piercings. I don't really plan to get any more piercings at the moment. I think that I have more than enough facial piercings, and I would be worried about landing an internship or getting a job if I had any more, although that's really dumb, but that's the way of the world still. Hopefully we'll make some progress with that. That's 12 out of 13 of my piercings. I always forget I have this piercing, and it's so bizarre. The purpose of this piercing kind of was, I was dealing with some body image issue stuff, and so I was like, I'm gonna get my belly button pierced, so every time I look down at it, instead of focusing on the way my stomach looks, I'm gonna go, ooh, I have a cute little piercing, which sometimes helps, sometimes doesn't. But since I don't often wear crop tops, it's funny because like I said, I always forget it's there. This was the most painless piercing out of all of them. The piercer literally went 1, 2, 3 and pierced it. And they pierced it on like the 2 or 3, and I did not even feel it. It was so funny. So I was really happy with that. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. I haven't changed out the jewelry at all. I'm not really into kind of the belly button piercings that are out there, like the ones at Spencer's or the ones that are really long. I will show you that, and I also will have a picture of it in the thumbnail. It's not the cutest thing in the world, but I'm happy with it. All right, so that's all you get. we need to stop sexualizing bodies. Like, we need to just say, oh, it's a stomach. Like, cool. Those are all my piercings. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, subscribe if you are interested in watching my content. I would love to have some more subscribers. And please leave a comment as long as it comes from a kind place. Let me know in the comments if you get to the end of the video what piercings you have and what piercings you would want. Let's start a conversation. That would be really cool. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.